Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated Season 1, Episode 1, Beware the Beast Below. So, after watching Velma and literally hating that show, I was on HBO Max and I was looking around. I saw they had other Scooby-Doo properties, and I'm all like, I've never actually watched this show. I seen a clip of it on YouTube of Velma getting like pissed on people on the internet, but that's about it. And like I told you before, I'm into all the older Scooby-Doo stuff. Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Scrappy-Doo and Scooby-Two, or whatever it's called. A pup named Scooby-Doo, even though it was the most childish one of all. I grew up in the 90s, therefore I was a child, but it was still more interesting than a lot of the other ones. And I like the live action movies, and I like the YouTube fan-made thing. But I've never really gotten into none of the newer stuff. So it's like, what's new Scooby-Doo? I saw that years ago and I just couldn't get into it. It's like everybody's outfit was redesigned except for Shaggy. It made no sense. Also, I did not like the voice of Scooby-Doo in that. And then there was, what was it? Scooby-Doo Get a Clue that was on the WB Kids where just Scooby-Doo and Shaggy completely reimagined. I hated that garbage. And so then there's Be Cool Scooby-Doo, which I tried to watch tonight because I saw pictures of it a long time ago. And I think I saw like the intro. And I just thought this kind of looks dumb. It just looked like every other like adult animated thing. And so I tried to watch it, and it's just like every dumb adult animated thing, and I could not finish it. And so, like, then there was this one, which I said I saw clips of, but I never actually fully watched it. And this was not that bad. I like this thing. This was actually really, really cool that came out in 2010. I really love the bright, vibrant colors in this. They really work. Like at first I thought they wasn't, but I'm like, this is kind of cool and everything. I love the voice cast because, like, Frank Welker, he returned as Fred for like the millionth time. Grade Laws, I think her name is. I can't really sure. She's back to voice Daphne. That one lady is back to voice like Velma and stuff. And of course, Matthew Lillard is back to voice like Shaggy. This is, I think, his first time voicing him other than playing him in live action. However, now his voice is getting a little scratchy now, I've noticed. It's not as high pitched as it used to be. And I like the voice of Scooby-Doo. My only complaint, I only got two, is one, the character designs. I don't like the big jaw like on Fred and a couple of the others, and I don't like none of their eyes. I've never liked that weird eye thing that they do in older cartoons and stuff. Sometimes it works, like in Superman when Bruce Timm did it, but other times I just don't like that. Just put regular eyes on them. And then my other complaint is Velma. She is crabby in this. She's like the nerdy, cranky girl and stuff, and I hate that. It's like you hate her just for the sake of hating her. Like she's always pissed off about everything. And they wrote her like that on purpose to make her interesting. But my favorite two Velmas ever was in a pup named Scooby-Doo. That Velma was cool, man. I liked her. She was shy, she was super smart, and she was just adorable. And then, of course, there's the one from the first live-action Scooby-Doo movie. She was just like amazing, man. Linda Carlini, I think her name was. Those have always been my favorite Velmas and stuff. And so, like, this cartoon, what it does that is so great is that it takes, like, the old approach to Scooby-Doo with the whole, people dressed up as monsters, them having to like reveal who it is, them setting traps. They get a little meta with it because, of course, this was like over 10 years ago. So when like, Fred and them do their traps, they overdo it and everything. And of course they mess up, but instead of Shaggy and Scooby messing up the trap and then them catching it, it was like in the first episode, it just didn't work for the sake of just like didn't work. And, what is it? But then they also have this that the new age like serialized storytelling, like a story arc and everything. Even though there are episodic episodes, there is an actual bigger plot going on and everything, and that's like really cool. And like another thing, I just wish they would have redesigned the outfits. But then, of course, this I don't even know what decade it's set in. It looks like it's set in the 70s. But then I could have sworn I saw like a laptop and a computer that goes to the internet. So it's kind of doing that whole, okay, it's old school with a little new age tech and everything. Like I said before, I love the vibrant colors, but it has that modern day storytelling where it's like you see the kids in their everyday lives, but then they also do like the mystery thing. At first, I wasn't digging it because they were just going through their everyday lives, but then all of a sudden they started doing the mystery thing, and it was very reminiscent of the old Scooby-Doo, Where Are You and stuff, but just updated for a more modern time. Because as much as I love Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? It is so outdated, but it is so hilarious. Like you just love it, you know what I'm saying? Like how can you not love it and stuff? And so like basically in this episode, you have Velma working on one of those like museum type things and about all the stuff, the cases they solved and all the like the outfits and everything from the Miner 49er and all of them and stuff like that. And so she's irritated and crabby like always and stuff. Well, at least in this series. And so she doesn't really want to even be there. And then so there's like something going on down below. There's some kind of monster who's cocooning everybody in this green goop. And so the gang now wants to like investigate, but their parents don't want them to because their parents are very worried of them. Now, what's interesting is that it takes the premise of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? What's New Scooby-Doo? And a splash touch of a pup named Scooby-Doo. Because like Daphne is rich, just like she was in the pup named Scooby-Doo. Fred is a little dumb in the head, similar to how he was in a pup named Scooby-Doo. And so, like, her rich parents don't want her to go. Shaggy's parents don't want him to go. Velma's parents are just pissed because of how crabby she was acting. And Fred's dad doesn't want him to go, and he's the mayor. They also can't get along with the sheriff, who gets on their nerves and stuff. And it's just like I like this modern take on it. And so they do the investigating thing, and they see like a cocoon body and everything, and then of course the cops and all them don't want them to mess with, but they do it anyway. And Fred is the one who ends up like stealing it. I gotta say, Fred was always the cool guy, like in the original one, but in the pup named Scooby-Doo, he was just flat out stupid. But in this one, he's kind of like, an actual like dude. He's not too perfect. He doesn't have too many flaws. It just is a right balance and everything. Like he just wants to do the right thing. And Velma said he's the type of person who likes to trap stuff because he's very interested in stuff. I don't know what that means, but hey, whatever. And also in this, Velma has a huge crush on Shaggy. He wants to date her back, but he doesn't want Scooby-Doo to find out. It might break his heart. But they did this because, Velma never had nobody dating-wise in like the older show or nobody to flirt with. And a lot of people always assumed she was a lesbian, so they were trying to get away from that. But now they have made her a lesbian, so yeah. And so they take it to like this teacher who's like a professor at school. Or the teacher at high school or something like that. I can't really tell. It's probably the teacher at high school. And of course, the mummified, dead-looking body and like the green goop and everything is like freaking the kids out. And it's some kind of weird cocoon thing. Now, in this episode, you also see them going into like this new fruit stand type place where they have like ice cream cones with this weird green goop in it. And so it's really tasty and stuff like that. But then the teacher ends up getting cocooned and everything. And so because of that, Fred is like upset and he's hiding out at this like radio like station with this lady from the like 70s or 80s look. This woman, like how edgy was this cartoon? She's all like, hey, whatchamacallem, because Scooby started to like eat this green goopy stuff, that, remember the ice cream looking stuff, the fruit stuff, and they realized it's this. Oh, no, 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 they had a sample of that green goop stuff, that the cocoon stuff, and he started eating it. She's all like, look, if this dog mutates, I'm gonna put him out, like kill him. And she said that. I couldn't believe that and everything. And so it turns out that the green stuff, the cocoon stuff, is the same fruit stuff from the fruit stand place. So the gang thinks they know who did this, so they set like a trap. And Fred's so excited about his trap, and it's cool seeing Fred like all excited. Now Daphne is still like a sweetheart type person, and she falls down like in traps and stuff like that, just like reminiscent of the old cartoon. Only difference is there's no weird chase scene and nobody's dancing at random like in the pup named Scooby-Doo. And so like the trap actually doesn't trap like the monster dude, it traps them. But then somehow they end up getting free, and then they end up trapping the monster dude. And then so the big reveal, they think it's the ice cream shop dude, but it's not him. It turns out to be the professor. Basically, he found something down below that can make him rich, and he wanted everybody to get away from that area, just like the old cartoon. And so like when they're out like doing their thing at the radio station, 'cause I guess somebody must work there, or they must work there or something. And then somebody, Mr. E, like called, and he's all like, you meddling kids got in my way and blah blah blah, and I'm gonna get you and blah blah blah. So they have like an arch villain they have to like take down, and that's so neat in their thing, because these kids always piss so many people off, and there's so many people who always wanted their revenge on them, and they still don't look like teenagers to me. They never looked like teenagers to me. The only time they ever looked like real kids was in the pup named Scooby-Doo. But like here, it's like it's always weird because in the older cartoon, it was just like these group of teenagers walking around at night all the time, and their parents never said anything. But now in this one, not only are they walking around at night, but during the day, and their parents actually do care, and there are more adults around and stuff this time. But it was always kind of odd how you never saw nobody in town in the older cartoon. But yeah, I really like this, and I can't watch the rest, but there's like 26 episodes. I'm like, oh man. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.